Assassin's Creed Mirage, it hasn't been doing too good. Not good at all. This is a game I wouldn't necessarily recommend to a lot of people. Maybe if you're a fan of the franchise and you want to play every single one, you can find enjoyment out of this game, but I do so with fair warning. I've been sick these past couple of days, so if I sound a little different, you get it. I really want to start off talking about the good things about the game, because the game looks like a AAA game, and I know it's scary. Mario, you want to talk about the good before you talk about the bad? Oh my gosh. Well, and really that's just it. It just looks like a AAA game. The sound design is amazing. I think the music is fitting and fun and upbeat. The world looks beautiful, and it's super detailed, and walking down the streets is really cool to look at. It really brings out like the PS4, and playing on the PS5 or on a PC can bring it out even more. Even though the character animations do seem like they're a bit old and outdated, the world itself is wonderful to just kind of stare at whenever you even get to synchronize at the top of the towers and see just how much there is. And I know this isn't as big of a map as some of the other Assassin's Creed games, and I appreciate how small it is and that there's just plenty to do inside of that map. On top of that, the game itself, main story-wise talking, is anywhere from 15 to 20 hours long, depending on how you want to take it, and that's fine. I'm 100% okay with that. The voice acting on top of that is pretty on par. It's really good, and they really do try to push an emotional factor onto everything that they deliver. In most cases, short games are great because they give replayability, or, you know, as we get older and we become adults, us gamers have a harder time just like finding time to actually play these games that come out, especially this time of year where it's no money November and Broketober for all of us. Yet in Assassin's Creed Mirage's case, it's more or less to save us from the misery of playing the game. And I know that sounds harsh, and really, I mean, the base of this game is you play as Basim. We see him in Valhalla. He introduces whatever main character you pick into the Creed itself, and it's a story about a master thief who is kind of uprooting corruption within the Baghdad, his hometown. So, or home city, I should say. Yet, even though I said the voice acting is pretty on par and really good, they don't use it to its fullest strength. The lot of the game and story is exposition. And if you guys are familiar with my channel, you know how much I hate exposition. Every time we get into a cutscene, it's just people telling us what is happening, telling us what has happened, telling us what is going to happen. The best, most cinematic parts are literally just kind of just compilations of how evil the person is, and telling us all of that. Exposition is one of the worst ways to tell a story because we, the audience, don't get to experience it. Actions speak louder than words. That saying exists for a reason. Not having Basim interact with the corruption that's going on inside of the city of Baghdad, and just having him have a meeting and kind of just given a mission. Sure, maybe it's more realistic to just be given a mission and say like, oh yeah, this person's corrupt. But we've already seen Ubisoft give us stories and experience these action moments where we get to see it from the character's point of view. In the original Assassin's Creed, in Ezio's story, what I consider those three games some of the peak of the I really got to start putting my phone on mute when I do these. And I bring up Ezio and the original Assassin's Creed because there is a harkening back to this. We're going back to our roots in Mirage, where the gameplay is kind of a amalgamation of Odyssey, Valhalla, and Origins mixed with Altair's and Ezio's story gameplay. And where I do see potential, it is lacking, kind of severely in a lot of points too. It feels like they took more from the very first game, which a lot of people like the first game, but nobody really loves it. The first game is very consistent, redundant, repetitive. It's you go to a town, you figure out who your target is, you kill them, then the whole town wants to kill you, and you hide out, you get a little commentary about corruption, and then you move on to the next town, and it's rinse and repeat. If it sounds familiar, it's because it's the same take that Mirage does. On top of this, they bring back a lot of old features like the wanted level at the bottom and ripping off posters, and as well as being able to hire people to help you out with your missions or to help you lower your wanted level. Yet they have these new special coins that you can acquire through doing side missions that allow those people to lower your wanted level or help you in a fight. And I just don't like the coins. I don't like the idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but we already had a system in place that nobody complained about. We just give them money. And after we give them money, they work for us. No one was upset at that. So why add just a further barrier of entry or just another obstacle for us to do something that in previous games we enjoyed so much and was already optional in our freedom of how we played the game? On top of this, the freedom of play is really just an illusion. I hate that. They make you think like you have all these options when in reality, a lot of times there's just one or two ways to enter a building. And it gets confusing because it's kind of hard to tell which doors or windows you can actually enter through. You have to use your eagle vision a lot to see if there's something you can break to push, make your way inside. And it's so frustrating running around the side of a building and seeing all the entryways you could take, but they're all barred off from the other side. Like there's no way to open them unless you're already inside, and it just means you get to get out of the building easier. It's a shortcut to get out of the building, but it's never used to get into the building. And it creates just such a narrow way of how to play the game that feels like I spend most of my time searching how to get inside of a building rather than choosing from all these different options of playing and stumbling across new ways of playing and having fun with it. And that's really what it feels like, because the campaign itself is only 15 hours long. They pad the runtime of the actual game by giving us these just nonsensical things that we have to do. That right there is an assassin's hideout. That is my safe zone. That is literally where I go to pick up missions, to upgrade my stuff, and to talk to my friends in the story mode. And yet I need to have my owl to tell me that there's someone inside of there to give me a quest. Do you understand? Just like it's just oh. Look at, I needed my owl to tell me about them. I needed to use my owl to tell me about.
You seem shorter than I remembered, Basim.
And you still have not grown a single digit, Rebecca.
We're not here as enemies.
Fuck, man.
No.
A lot of people praise how the game is much more stealth-based now and less combat-based, and this is where the amalgamation kind of comes in. I enjoy that there is no level to the enemies. There's like trash mobs, there's kind of like more armored guys, and then you got your bosses that you run into every once in a while. So if you decide to stealth and stay sneaky, everything is essentially one-shot kill. And really, all your abilities and upgrades that you get, there's not a crazy amount, but they're all geared towards being more stealthy and having into that stealth gameplay. There's nothing that essentially helps you in actually fighting outside of stealth. And matter of fact, you lose some of your very crucial abilities if you do get spotted and you do have to fight enemies. It doesn't mean you can't fight enemies. You could definitely take on a dozen or so people, take out a whole town if you want to, especially with the tools at hand. You can still one-shot, headshot people with daggers, or use smoke bombs, and even upgrade those tools and utilities. So they give you options to a fight. However, it just feels clunky. There's nothing that feels overtly smooth. Like some enemies that are supposed to be really hard to fight, they're just hard because it's near impossible to parry them or to read their movements because they move so fast. Same with other enemies. The animation to attack, they show you at last second when they're going to light up to do something, and the parry's very forgiving, so you could parry and then cancel out of your parry with a dodge if they're doing something like that, but it's all just clunky, and it doesn't feel that great because you're only doing like one or two moves. You're not doing anything crazy fancy like in the old games with their parries, or each weapon has their own type of kill animation and things of that nature. I don't know why they don't like us being able to just murder every guard in a town if that's how we want to play. For some reason, Ubisoft or whatever has made it their mission to make sure that if we get into combat, we're going to get punished for it as much as they can do it. But you can get pretty good and take out as many guys as you want. Combat isn't the only thing that is clunky in this game. Running around is pretty slow and clunky, and it's not smooth. In Unity, there was this awesome feeling of this flow whenever you would run and jump, and even in like Assassin's Creed 3, there was this flow and being able to move around. But in Mirage, you lose that flow state. There's something that's always either interrupting it, or it just doesn't go as fast. You feel super slow, and sometimes it just feels faster just to run through the streets. Like imagine playing a game where its core system is parkour, and you feel faster if you just run through the streets. It's disappointing considering how much work they put into making the city of Baghdad and how cool it looks to run on all those rooftops, only to constantly be going the wrong way or to be thrown off a direction you're not supposed to go. I don't know how they regressed in that, but it doesn't feel that great. I talked about the potential of this game. I think there is something to be said about taking the RPG elements of Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla and making it more into what we had with the Ezio trilogy. I also understand that this game was meant to just be kind of a DLC, and it just got extended into a full-length game. I hope they take this and they refine it. I really want to see more of this. As much as I didn't enjoy my experience with Basim, I would love to have a sequel of Basim where we get more engaging and action-based story, where we get to see him experience the corruption and isn't just told about it through a secondhand source. I would love for combat to have more options than just kind of button mashing and waiting for an easy parry to happen, and having enemies that are challenging enough to make you fulfilled whenever you beat them, and not just someone you can't hit in the front and you have to play ring around the rosy with to hit them in the back. If anything, this game has showed me the potential of what could happen, having a character that can make choices like in an RPG landscape, but it plays like an older Assassin's Creed game that we all grew up on and fell in love with. But as of right now, this isn't something that I would recommend anyone to really play, and it doesn't really add to the Assassin's Creed story as a whole. So it's probably safe to skip it, even though, yeah, sure, they're selling it for $50, but it's definitely not worth that. It's worth $30 if you can get it on sale. Black Friday's probably around the corner. Look out for that. I know it's a month away, but still. And I just have to give Assassin's Creed Mirage a 5 out of 10. For more 101 on gaming and more, I'm your digital hero. Until next time, play nice.